Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova, everybody. There's a great improv game called Questions Only, where you try to have a conversation consisting only of questions. It's a back and forth dialogue for as long as you can go without making any statements. Rabbi Jacobs and I will demonstrate for you now. Where are you going?
Where can somebody get pizza around here?
Isn't it better to stay home during a tornado warning?
Tornado warning?
Don't you watch the news?
Why would I watch the news before I've had pizza?
And so on and so on. Turn to the person next to you, the people around you, and try this out for a minute or two. Longer. Okay, I'm hearing some laughs, some pauses. It's a really tough game, right? It's hard to be in a place of curiosity or challenge all the time, especially for adults. Kids who are learning the world for the first time, they ask lots of questions. Many of you have probably had that back and forth conversation with a young child who asks why something is the way it is. And you give an answer, to which the child asks, why? And then you give another answer, to which the child asks, and the pattern continues. This is a natural developmental stage. Young kids ask around 100 questions every day. As they get older, the questions dwindle. And according to research, by adolescence, kids are asking around 3 questions a day only. It's hard to know how much of this is natural development and how much is the societal pressure that we put on having the right answers rather than asking good questions. But at some point in our development, we grow out of our innate curiosity, which is a shame, really. We forget that no matter how many years we've been living, no matter how many experiences we've had, we're always still learning the world for the first time. And curiosity is good for us. It's good for our brains. When we're curious about a particular subject or question, our ability to remember the answer increases by 30%, according to a 2014 UC Davis study. I looked it up because I was curious. A current Duke study shows that curiosity increases patience. I know that doesn't seem intuitive, but the researcher finds that high curiosity means people want to have that moment of realization and discovery on their own, rather than jumping straight to the answers. Other experiments have found that heightened curiosity leads to more innovation, more creative problem solving. And we know that the speed with which this world is changing requires us to be innovative, adaptive, creative, and curious in all these ways, or else we get left behind, or else we don't make progress. On a different note, curiosity has been found to enhance our relationships with people who differ from us in identity and opinion. Psychology professor Todd Kashdan, author of The Art of Insubordination, writes that heightened curiosity makes us more open to hearing different points of view. A huge challenge in our society today. We're too stuck in our convictions, in the belief that we know the right answers, that we know the way the world works, and there's nothing to be done about it. That's a dangerous place to be. The extraordinary Israeli poet Yehuda Amichai, one of my favorites, he knew this to be true. And in his poem, Hamakom Shebo Anu Tzodkim, the place where we are right, It's a beautiful illustration of this concept, and I'm going to read it for you now. From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow in the spring. The place where we are right is hard and trampled like a yard, but doubts and loves dig up the world like a mole, a plow, and a whisper will be heard in the place where the ruined house once stood. Let's unpack this a little bit. From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow. This is not a productive place. This is not a space where anything living and dynamic will flourish. This is a dead zone. It is hard and trampled like a yard, he says. It's a place we crush and stomp over rather than ground that we till and soften and seed. But doubts and loves, feikot ve'ahavot, dig up the world like a mole, a plow. When we speak from a place of love and doubt, the hardened earth comes loose for us. Growth and change become possible. Here, doubt is not a bad word like we so often make it out to be. Doubt means uncertainty. It means openness to new information. There's no chance of true curiosity without doubt. From the place of doubt and love, we can breathe new life into the things we've destroyed through our apathy, through baseless hatred, sinat chinam. That's what the last line of the poem is getting at. The ruined house, habayit asher nechrab, that's an allusion to the ancient temple, which we say fell because of us, because of our baseless hatred, our hardened positions. So how do we as a society, as a community, how do we leave the place where we are right? How do we become a people of doubts and loves? Lucky for us, we have a beautiful Jewish tradition that demands curiosity and challenge. That's what it means to be a Jew. In the Torah, our great leaders are not always blindly obedient. Abraham challenges God when God wants to wipe out the sinful cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, saying, "Will you destroy the righteous with the wicked? Perhaps there are 50, 45, 30, 20, even 10 righteous people in the city." He says to God, "Chalila lach, hashofet kol haaretz lo yaseh mishpat." Far be it from you to do such a thing as this. Will the judge of the entire earth not perform justice? And God listened. God wanted that engagement, that curiosity, that challenge. And God asks questions too, even though God knows all the answers. When Adam and Eve eat the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden, they hide from God. And instead of striking them with a bolt of lightning, what does God do? What does God ask? Where are you? Ayeka. Our rabbis have continued in the tradition of the Torah, in the tradition of God and Abraham. If you look at the Talmud, our classical rabbinic text, it's a big questions-only game. One rabbi asks why a law is phrased a certain way. Another rabbi asks why it wouldn't be phrased that way. A third rabbi asks why there's a law at all. Isn't it obvious? Why does it need to be articulated? Volumes and volumes of questions and questions about the questions, and grand diversions and pushing boundaries. Only sometimes are there definitive answers, because we are a people of questions. We're not allowed to grow up and stop asking why. Rosh Hashanah gives us one of the most important questions we can ask each other. Ma lach, what's troubling you? That's the question God asks in our Torah reading today and every Rosh Hashanah. We follow the story of Ishmael, Abraham's firstborn son, and his mother Hagar, Sarah's maidservant and rival mother. At Sarah's request, after seeing conflict between Ishmael and her son Isaac, Abraham casts Hagar and Ishmael out into the wilderness. In their wandering, the water they have runs out, and Hagar collapses in tears, thinking her son is going to die. God heard the cry of the boy, and an angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, Ma lach Hagar, what troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heeded the cry of the boy where he is. Malach, what troubles you? A powerful question that makes appearances throughout our biblical and rabbinic texts. It comes up in the second chapter of Mishnah Midot, a text from our oral tradition dated to around 200 CE, which gives us the whole blueprint of the Second Temple, all the measurements, the doors, the gates, all the pathways. And in the midst of all of that, we read something truly remarkable about what happens when people would come to the Temple Mount. Everyone enters and walks round the mount to the right, except for the person to whom something has happened. That person enters and walks round to the left. The person is asked, Ma lecha makif lismo? What is wrong? What troubles you that you go round to the left? If the person answers, because I am a mourner, everyone would say in response, Hashochen b'bayit hazeh yenachameka. May God who dwells in this house comfort you. If the person answers, because I am excommunicated, everyone responds either, Hashochen b'bayit hazeh yiten belibam v'yikarvucha. May God who dwells in this house inspire them to draw you near again, or Hashochen b'bayit hazeh yiten belibcha v'tishma ledivrei chaverecha v'yikarvucha. May God who dwells in this house inspire you to listen to the words of your colleagues so that they may draw you near again. There are times when life doesn't go on as normal for us, when we're in grief, when we're sick, when we're isolated in some way. This tradition of walking in the opposite direction, making it necessary for everyone to encounter the isolated person, notice that something is wrong, and then ask, Malach, Malecha, what's troubling you? And then once we know, to say, may you be comforted, may you be brought back into community. How can we do this with one another? How can we notice when someone in our community is walking in the opposite direction and say, Malach, what is troubling you? Here at Schechter Day School, which is my other hat, we like to say that lots of kids have full emotional backpacks. We don't know what they're carrying, what they're going through. And when we grow up, our backpacks get even fuller. We have to be sensitive enough, caring enough, involved enough to know when something is wrong, to know when someone needs some extra love, attention, and understanding. We have to know when to say, Malach, what's troubling you? Ayeka, where are you? Sometimes we don't ask these questions because we think they're intrusive. We know something is wrong, and we don't want to remind a person in pain of their pain. We think we're being kind, that we're giving space. But as many of you are well aware, people don't forget about their pain, their grief, or their suffering. They can't be reminded of something when it's all-consuming. More often than not, we're just scared to ask the wrong questions. And there are wrong questions. There are wrong things to say. But what's worse than asking the wrong questions is asking no questions at all. Be curious this year. Make it your sacred task to find your inner child and get curious about the world around you. Be curious about what people are going through. Be curious about yourself. Be curious about your surroundings. Be a student of the world. Ask all kinds of questions. Ask questions about local, national, and global politics. Ask why the weather's been so insane lately. Ask questions about the Torah and Jewish practice. Ask your kids and grandkids what they're learning. Ask your parents and grandparents what they know, what they still don't know. And when you notice that someone is walking in the other direction, ask them our ancient question, Malach, what's troubling you? Get out of the place where you know all the answers. Get out of the place where we are right. Hamakom shebo anu tzodkim. Remember Yehuda Amichai's wise words, which I'll repeat again. From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow in the spring. The place where we are right is hard and trampled like a yard, but doubts and loves dig up the world like a mole, a plow, and a whisper will be heard in the place where the ruined house once stood. Shana Tova.